We limited DeMarvion Overshone tonight. Andre Carrick, we kind of didn't think it was worth getting him back out there again on the ankle. And then limited, kind of Worthy and Jay Witt a little bit. Although they played, we monitored. They were kind of on a pitch count. So with all that being said, I thought this was a good spring for us. I think collectively across the board, I would say the majority of our team made strides of growth to get better and became better players, which inevitably I think we became a better team. Clearly, we're not a finished product. There's plenty of work to be done, and I could point to numerous examples from tonight. But we're moving in the right direction. And so as I look back at kind of phase one of our program being that winter conditioning portion, I thought that was a really positive time for us. Phase two being spring ball, I thought this was a really positive time for us. Now we have finals here to finish up school, and we'll start phase three of our summer conditioning here May 31st. And so we'll go through that. But all in all, I thought it was a good night. I thought it culminated with kind of a fun sequence there at the end of our red zone lockout. We played at 18 points, and the guys, we do that a lot in practice in a way to kind of work your red zone stuff, but yet keep score. And, anytime you miss a field goal, the defense gets 7 points. So that's how that thing wrapped up. But all in all, good day. Plenty of stuff, I think, even when we look at this tape, for guys to work on. So we got work to do.
Raise your hand if you have a question. Get it right in the middle with Brian.
Steve, coaches typically don't want to show much of anything in these deals, especially on TV. But was there anything you did want to show, whether it was the quarterbacks or anything specific?
No, I wanted to make sure that I gave enough people opportunities to make plays. This was not about scheme in this game. This was about lining up, trying to play good football, who could block, who could get off blocks, who could tackle, who could cover, who could run routes and catch the ball in competitive settings. I wanted to give the quarterbacks enough opportunities to kind of play the variety of the plays, right? The advantage throws, the RPOs, the drop back pass, the play action pass, and to kind of see that and learn them. And I thought we were able to do it. I thought in the end, sometimes you don't get the coverage you're looking for to maybe take the shot or throw the RPO. But I think that, I kind of learned a little tonight. Again, assess the tape and see where we're at. But, again, this was more about not so much the scheme as it was making sure guys were getting opportunities to play football, defeat blocks, block people, run the ball, but yet, throw and catch the ball too, because that's a big portion of the game.
Coach, in your evaluation process, do you view this as just one practice/scrimmage, or does it have a little bit more weight because it's in front of a crowd and all the other extras involved?
Yeah, it's a good question because, clearly this wasn't about the knowledge of a game plan necessarily where you have to carry, we've gone into the last two scrimmages with much more offense and defense kind of on our game plan and on our call sheet to call. So they had to be ready for a lot more calls the last 2 weeks. And so that was part of that evaluation. This evaluation was a little bit for the moment. You think about it, I think we had, over 40, close to 50,000 people out there. And for some of these guys, that's the most they've ever played in front of. And for others, the first time they've ever been on the field really with that many people. So you can learn a lot about that, a little bit about the performance anxiety, a little bit about the coachability of when maybe you make a mistake, can you come back and rectify it in the middle of a game and not have to wait till the tape the next day. So I thought all in all, there were some things there that we can really take from this from an evaluation standpoint. I don't know if I necessarily say I value it more, but it is different because, to your point, there was a lot of people here tonight. Now, schematically, not nearly as much of what we carried into tonight as what we did the last two scrimmages. So I definitely carry weight with kind of the evaluation of it.
Far left, far right.
Steve, two guys I wanted to ask you about just throughout spring, including tonight, Justice Finkley and Aaron Bryant. And then also heard you earlier this spring express a desire to improve tackling on the back end on long runs. And to that end, did some of the long runs, I guess, bother you a little bit tonight in that regard?
Yeah. Both Justice and Aaron, I think, are really coachable kids. That's the first thing that I love. I love the fact that they come in, they put in the work, They try to do what you ask them to do. And by doing that, I think they both really improved this spring. Justice really took a leap, in my opinion, about the last 10 days here of spring ball. I mean, he was a physical player. He had a presence. Now, I haven't got to look at the tape, see how tonight went. Aaron is unique in that, man, he is a powerful guy, low to the ground, quick, pretty good instincts. And so, he's just got a little bit more of a log jam at his position as to what Justice is playing, but I think both guys have a bright future for us. Looking at the tape, I have to go assess it. Roshan had the long run, obviously, and I couldn't quite tell where the missed tackle came from there. Now, some other runs as they spit and got on the perimeter, I have to remind myself, they have to tackle some pretty good backs too, So that's always the hard part when you're the head coach and you're going through spring practice of, you're down on one side, you're excited about the other. So in some notes, I love the way Keelan ran the ball tonight. I love the way Jonathan Brooks ran the ball tonight because we're going to need those guys, just like we did last season and at the end of last year. And the idea that we could run the ball like that without Bijan, that's really encouraging to me. On the flip side, man, if we can learn to get these guys on the ground, we'll be pretty effective of tackling in the back end as we go. But we got to minimize the big plays, the explosive plays for sure.
Steve, could you give me 2 areas where you feel like you made the biggest strides as a football team?
Yeah, I think the first one I'll talk about is kind of football centric, and the second one will be something a little bit different. I think football-wise, I think we've raised our football IQ on our team. I've really tried to make it a point to get our team to understand situational football in that, the game of football is made up of a different situation just about every play, right? Is it 1st and 10? Is it second short? Is it second long? Is it third down? Is it high red? Is it low red? Is it goal line? Is it third and short? Is it third and long? Is it backed up? Is it 2 minute? Is it 4 minute? And then understanding the situation and then anticipating calls and how we want to play as a team in those scenarios. And I thought we really grew in that area. So that's the first part. And that encompasses a lot. That encompasses obviously, our run game, our run stopping, our pass game, our ability to cover the pass. All those things kind of fall into that category. But to me, I think if you start talking to our players about situational football and their awareness of it, that's encouraging to me. I think the second part, which the growth that we've made, we're a team. And I don't know a year ago if I could say, we're just so much further along as the way we conduct and the way we are around ourselves. Somebody said something to me the other day on our team about, none of us want to let each other down. That was one of the coolest things I've heard a player say to me since I've been here, that they're actually doing the things necessary in that, yes, they want to do it for themselves, but they want to do it because they don't want to let their brother down next to them. And to me, that's a huge stride that we've made since January to this point. And, that's going to get us a long way. That's going to find a way to win us a game or two in the fourth quarter when we got to make those plays. And so if we can continue to build on that brotherhood, that mentality, we've got an influx of new players coming in here in a month and getting them kind of fully immersed in what we're doing. That's a great sign for us moving forward, to go along with the X's and O's, to go along with the fundamentals, the techniques, and all those things. But when you have a real team and you're counting on one another and you can count on each other, that's a positive sign. That's exactly right, to your point.
Time for 3 last ones. Cedric, go ahead.
Hey, Steve, with these young quarterbacks, a lot's going to be placed on that offensive line. Are you seeing the leadership from Jake Majors, Junior Angulo, Christian Jones, those guys? And I know you mentioned Hayden Connor as well.
Yeah, I thought kind of the first unit tonight played pretty well. I thought they played good football. Jake's real steady inside because he's so smart. He's got such good command, and that's what you need at that center position. I thought it's a lot more comfortable for Christian back at right tackle, which we had talked about. I definitely see him kind of stepping up in that direction. But all in all, that group right there is is going to be critical to our success. I think that, we've got two really good trigger men that we'll keep pushing those guys as far as we can take them. We've talked about the backfield. We know what's happening at wide receiver. Now how far can this offensive line go to play the brand of football that we want to play? And that brand of football is very simple. We have to be able to run the ball when the other team knows we're going to run the ball. If we can do that, then everything else comes to light. We can RPO, we can play action pass, we can drop back, we can do those things. But you have to have the ability to run the football when the other team knows you're going to run the football, and you have to be effective doing it.
Middle, Danny?
Steve, did you see enough this spring from Hudson or Quinn to name a starter, or does this competition go through the summer and into August?
I think it's gonna go. I think, to be fair to both those guys, you probably saw tonight. Both guys really had some flash plays. Some really cool plays of them. Whether it's throwing down the field, orchestrating drives in the red area, and we saw some plays that I think both guys would love to have back. But that's part of the position. And sometimes you can't control some of the other things going on around you. But I like where these guys are at. If I could have said that they would play this good after 15 practices this spring, or if one of them would have, I'd be ecstatic. And I'm really happy with the growth at where they're at. I think we're at a really good spot at that position. Now we got to continue to grow. We can't settle, and we've got to take these guys to new heights. And we've got to get Malik going and get Malik kind of getting him healthy. And this summer is going to be big for him to put himself in position for fall camp as well.